God created the human body as an extremely fine-tuned and powerful physical machine, but it needs fuel to function properly. This fuel is food. God gave us appetite, which we call hunger, to ensure that our bodies receive the necessary fuel. Food satisfies our hunger and gives us energy, forming part of the natural balance that sustains life. So, why would anyone choose to go hungry? Nowadays, we are taught to eat 3 times a day and are constantly reminded that a good breakfast is essential for a productive day. We've been educated from an early age to eat 3 full meals a day and to exercise to be healthy and strong. So, why would anyone decide not to eat? The world calls this dieting, often with the goal of losing weight or for health reasons. But some people choose not to eat for spiritual reasons, something the Bible calls fasting. Fasting is usually practiced for a specific period to achieve a spiritual purpose. One example from the Old Testament is that the Jews were required to fast once a year. In Leviticus 16 verse 29, we read, "This shall be a statute forever for you. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, you shall afflict your souls and do no work at all, whether a native of your own country or a stranger who dwells among you." This is the Yom Kippur Fast, or the Day of Atonement. God commanded his people to fast on this day so that everyone would remember the importance of salvation. On the Day of Atonement, the high priest would enter the Holy of Holies and offer the blood of an animal in exchange for the people's sins. Leviticus 16 verse 24 says, "He shall wash his body with water in a holy place, put on his garments, come out and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and for the people." Since the Day of Atonement dealt with the sins of the nation, everyone fasted to identify with the high priest who offered the sacrifice for their sins. Jesus also spoke about fasting to his disciples. "When you fast," in Matthew 6 verses 16 to 18, "when you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." When you give up food that is pleasurable and necessary, it catches God's attention. Even back then, Jesus warned us not to show off our fasting to others. Jesus advised his disciples not to fast to receive public praise, indicating that he viewed fasting as a valid spiritual practice. Fasting is temporarily abstaining from a physical need, usually food, in favor of a spiritual need. Instead of eating, you dedicate yourself to prayer, seeking God's intervention in the spiritual realm. However, if your goal in fasting is to impress others, then their praise will be the only reward you receive. Concerns about fasting. If you've never fasted before, the idea of going without food for any period can be intimidating. People worry about various issues because we are used to eating 3 times a day. Many people wonder if they will be hungry and if the hunger pains will be unbearable. Others have doubts about whether they will be able to maintain the fast until the end. And what if you see a TV commercial suggesting you eat a chocolate bar to overcome the afternoon energy slump? Additionally, some worry about what their friends will think if they find out they're fasting. The answer is simple. You don't fast to impress your friends, and usually, you don't even tell them. As Jesus said, "When you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you openly." Matthew 6 verses 17 to 18. Jesus was reminding us not to make a public spectacle of our devotion to God. Fasting is a private commitment between you and God. It can be done in private, without anyone knowing. Other times, you may fast in conjunction with your church or another person. Ezra fasted with 4,000 people to solve a problem, and Esther asked all the Jews to fast to seek divine intervention. Annually, in May, Christians are invited to participate in the National Day of Prayer and Fasting. What is fasting? Fasting is not the same as dieting, and it is not the same as eliminating food for health reasons. There are many types of spiritual fasts and many reasons to fast, always accompanied by prayer. Fasting is a biblical discipline that can help anyone improve their spiritual life and become a prayer warrior. Some believe that Christians do not need discipline, but we build our strength through spiritual exercises. We must remember that we are soldiers of Christ, and a good soldier is trained in various disciplines. Fasting is just one of many spiritual practices of a Christian. Jesus told his disciples that when praying for others, whether for the church or for the salvation of people, Satan will oppose you. Fasting, like climbing a mountain, is demanding both spiritually and physically. Approach this journey with a clear understanding of what you are doing, knowing that the path may be difficult, but the benefits will be worth it. Start slowly if this is your first fast. God will honor your first step of faith, which may seem small to others, but will be a significant step for you. God also cares about the response of your heart during the fast. Your attitude is a crucial part of fasting. Just like when a man proposes marriage, it's not the size of the ring that matters, but the sincerity of his heart. Therefore, when you start a fast, don't worry about how long it should last. Just make sure your relationship with God is in order. God knows everything and values the sincerity of your prayers more than the number of words. If you've never fasted before, start by skipping a meal. In the Old Testament, the Jews were required to fast for an entire day on Yom Kippur every year. The day began at sunset and ended at sunset the following day, according to the Jewish calendar. God taught the Jews to count their days, so the evening and the morning constituted the first day. Genesis 1 verse 5. Plan to start your fast when the sun sets, or perhaps a little earlier. This means you will go without the evening meal, then skip breakfast and lunch the next day. After sunset, most Jews would break the fast by eating a normal meal. Fasting with a companion. While private prayer and fasting are the foundation of all intercession, if you have never fasted before, you may want to start your fasting journey with someone else. If you are fasting for a specific answer to prayer, invite someone to pray and fast with you. There is strength in unity. Jesus said in Matthew 18 verses 18 to 19, "Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Again, truly I tell you that if two of you agree on earth about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven." These verses do not speak only about prayer, but also about the commitment we make in agreement with another person. Consider fasting like planning a vacation with someone. It's more memorable if you plan, dream, and share the experience together. When you fast with someone else, your prayers are likely to be more focused. Fasting with someone else has additional advantages. You have someone with whom you can discuss doubts, questions, and fears. If fasting causes you anxiety, another person's strength can help you overcome it. You can call each other for advice and ask how things are going. This connection can give you the motivation needed to continue. Don't forget to celebrate when the fast is over. When you climb a mountain alone, the victory is yours alone. But when you share the experience, everyone celebrates together when reaching the top. Another advantage of fasting with a friend is that it establishes accountability. You will be less tempted to break the fast if you know a friend is aware of it. If you've ever run or walked with a friend, you know how having a partner can help you keep the commitment when things get tough. If you're strong, you can serve as support for your friend, and if they are strong, they can serve as support for you. If this is your first time, start with a partial or liquid fast. If you need help getting started, a companion can be helpful. Even if your friend has more experience fasting, they will be willing to support you because they know that the victory of one is the victory of all. Additionally, Jesus stated that some spiritual challenges can only be overcome through fasting and prayer. In Mark 9 verse 29, he said, "This kind can come out only by prayer and fasting." Therefore, by fasting, you are preparing yourself to face the spiritual forces that can only be defeated with a deep and serious commitment to God. Fasting, together with prayer, can open doors to blessings and answers that would otherwise remain closed. So, as you commit to fasting, remember that you are spiritually equipping yourself for battle and drawing closer to God in a powerful and transformative way. Fasting is more than just abstaining from food. It is a powerful way to seek God and align yourself with His will. If you have never fasted before, or if you are ready to take your fasting to a new level, I encourage you to start today. Join a friend or your faith community and see how God will move in your life as you dedicate this time to Him.